Okay, I have to say I'm pretty excited about this next segment. It's all about an incredible mentor that I had since I was 18 years old. Art Buchwald was one of the most brilliant writers and political satirists I have ever known. He inspired me, insulted me, made me laugh, and always taught me how to be offbeat, sometimes out of bounds, and definitely on point when it came to pursuing this very fickle and twisted business. We were pen pals when pen pals were actually cool, and I was roving through rural America in search of becoming the great reporter. He would give me plenty of pithy advice, like, quote, "Always remember, Kyra, there are never any jobs in television, but someone always gets one. And Kyra, be warned, flattery in this business can backfire on you. Every time a woman writes to me and tells me how sexy I am, I shred the letter." But Art really put the pressure on me when he told me he expected me to become the next Connie Chung. And now that I've totally aged myself, I'm not nearly as old as my next two guests of honor. The legendary Dave Barry was one of Art's dearest friends, and Michael Hill, who has written his next bestseller, by the way, already receiving legendary reviews. The book is Funny Business, the legendary life and political satire of Art Buchwald. Mike and Dave, it is so great to have you here to take Art Buchwald's name in vain and, of course, pimp Mike's new book. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Kyra. Thanks so much for doing this.
Well, let me tell you, before Art died, he told me that I better keep talking about him when I'm rich and famous. Well, clearly, I am not rich and famous, which is why I have the two of you on today. So, Mike, you truly bring the Art Buchwald I knew so well to life, and you remind us of his witty and wonderful columns that brought us all together no matter what our politics were. Why did you want to write this book?
Well, Kyra, much like you, I've been a longtime fan of Art Buchwald's, and I consider him one of the greatest political satirists and humorists that our country ever produced, right up there with James Thurber and Will Rogers. And in fact, during his own time, he was known as the Mark Twain of his time. And for nearly half a century, he poked fun with his wonderful satire and humor, poked fun at the powerful and the pompous and misguided bureaucrats, and 10 different presidents of the United States, and all the while making people laugh, and just as importantly, making them laugh at themselves. And unfortunately, his humor and satire has been forgotten, and hopefully this book will bring his career back to life.
Oh, we are bringing it back. And Dave, I'm just so thrilled that Mike wrote this book, because before Colbert, Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah, there was Art Buchwald, and he was paving the way for humorists to lampoon the powerful. Tell me how Art influenced you, because I know how good of friends you were.
Well, first of all, he was my mother's favorite humor writer, and that remained true after I became a humor writer. So that's how popular Art was. But when I got started in the 70s writing a humor column, the giants in humor writing, humor columnists in this country were Irma Bombeck and Russell Baker, and above all, Art Buchwald. And as my column started to get out there, I think are people who would have, in his position, who might have seen me as like, oh, who are you? This, this punk, this rival, whatever. And Art was so great to me. He reached out to me as soon as he became aware of my column. Whenever he came to Miami, we would go to have dinner, lunch together. He put me on. I see you also got letters from Art, but one of the highlights of my professional life was getting letters from Art. I don't know how he found time to write his column, because he apparently corresponded with so many people. But I too have a whole bunch of letters from Art. Anyway, he was just the best person for me. Such a wonderful, gracious man. And as I tell everybody, he was actually funnier in person, impossible as that may seem, than he was in writing. He was just a brilliant guy.
Yeah, and so genuine. And Mike, he didn't just have a gift for humor and satire, as we all know. He had this circle of friends that just takes us back to such a nostalgic time. I mean, Humphrey Bogart, Frank Sinatra, Robert Frost, Dave Barry, and I loved listening to him tell me stories about all these folks. And I know writing this book only deepened the appreciation, Mike, that you have for Art's legacy, yes?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the great joys about this, and both of you have just talked about the letters that you received from him. One of the great joys of this book was finding this treasure trove of letters, people that he corresponded with throughout his long career, people from Hollywood, politicians, and just ordinary people. And they were so funny. And much of it has never been published. And it was really a great joy to bring those letters to the book and to the people who read it.
And Dave, Art would have had a field day with Donald Trump. Can you just imagine today's column? Yeah, I mean, what would the title be, Dave? Here's your opportunity. Write the column in the spirit of Art right now, please.
Well, what I imagine him doing would be, he liked to take on personas. I mean, he'd be the guy who would be, I'm Donald Trump's valet, and what my day consists of. But what you touched on this earlier. He was that rare guy, and we really don't have it much anymore. He made fun of everybody. He made fun of Democrats. He made fun of Republicans, and they all still loved him because it was never mean spirited, it was never angry, it was never vicious. And I think a lot of us miss that, and you don't find a lot of political humor anymore that's even-handed and non-vicious. You just don't.
It's so true. And we just saw a picture there of Art and Bill Styron, the great author, and Mike Wallace, our beloved 60 Minutes journalist. And the three of them were best friends, and they all came forward and talked about their depression. There was a darker side, right, to the humor within all of them. But they took it on the road. They called themselves the Blues Brothers. And I just love that they talked about depression and mental illness, and they allowed people to laugh about it and embrace it, which I think is an important thing to remember, Mike, as well, as we just talk about the legacy of Art.
Yes, Kyra, on 2 points on that. Yes, was the fact that he not only battled depression himself, but he went public about it. He had the courage, as William Styron did and Mike Wallace, to go public to try and help other people. And the other element of courage that he had, as you know, and Dave and other folks who were close to him, that courage that he showed in his final years when he knew the end was coming. And he never lost his sense of humor during that whole time period. And that was one of the really wonderful things about him. Never lost his sense of humor, no matter how difficult things were.
We are keeping his spirit. Yes, you wrap us up, Dave.
No, I just want to add that I went to see Art when he was near the very end. I went to see him in Martha's Vineyard, and I was expecting it to be the saddest time because here's this guy I loved. He was dying, and he knew he was dying. We all knew he was dying. I laughed so hard that day. I was crying from laughter. He just had that gift, as Mike's talking about. He managed to make everything funny, including the way he went out of this world. Just an amazing guy.
It's so true. I remember one of the last days at the hospice, and I said, "Is there anything I can get you, Art?" As I have tears coming down my face, and he goes, "Yeah, McDonald's hamburger." Dave Barry and Michael Hill, this meant so much to me. Thank you both so much. I love and appreciate you both dearly.
Thank you,
Kyra. Thanks, Kyra. Thank you so much.
You bet. The book is called Funny Business, The Legendary Life and Political Satire of Art Buchwald. I hope you will pick it up.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.